Good afternoon and welcome to Seattle Real Estate Podcast. I am here with my co host, Tucker Maxwell. I'm Dan Edwards, managing broker with the Seattle Real Estate team. And it's almost Thanksgiving. Are you excited?
I am so excited. It's my favorite holiday. Any holidays that are surrounded by food, I'm in.
The food you're in. What about, though, like 4th of July? I mean, that's barbecue and it's explosive. So I really have to say it's like a 1-2 right there for me.
I would agree, and it's better weather, so
Better weather,
I'll
all
go
those
with
good
4th of
things.
July.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey, it's good to be back here chatting with you about some pretty cool topics today. We're going to, by the way, if you're watching this, feel free to like or comment below, subscribe so that you get when these are live. We are on all the podcast spaces. So if you wanted to listen to us like at 1.5 times speed, it's probably really, really fast. That's how I listen to my podcasts. But you can catch us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Just look up the Seattle Real Estate Team. You'll find us. And we've got some awesome topics today. I got a couple here. One, we're talking about a frozen Seattle market. We're also talking about what's going to happen in the rental world. Actually, we probably should get our friend over at Brink Property Management come on, but we've got some insights there. And then all this talk about the frozen market is Portable Loan a solution. So we got a lot to cover here. Let's just jump into this first one. Is the Seattle housing market is frozen, and there's a lot of I found this article. I'm going to bring up this article here 1 second. Let's see, share. I can't do that. I'm going to stop screen share there, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to share this one. Is according to Axios, is the Seattle market here it feels frozen in place. Does it feel frozen to you, Tucker?
No, it seems to me that things are moving.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of a weird thing. We are like, wait, frozen? What do you mean by frozen? So it looks like Axios did a kind of Redfin data. They pulled some Redfin data, and they looked at the Seattle's home turnover rate in the metro area, Seattle metro area. And so if you look at it right here in 2020, it was at 3. In 2021, right, almost 4% turnover rate. And right now we're down at 2% in Seattle. And that's the lowest that what did they say? The lowest in the nation. Northwest Multiple said sales were down 4%. Median home rate is there, but that speed of the market seems a little slow. So I think we did a quick kind of cursory look, and we're like, well, is it the same on the east side? Because that's as much as we, I was like, well, maybe it's just talking about downtown Seattle, because downtown Seattle, if you own a condo in downtown Seattle, if you're trying to sell a condo in downtown Seattle, it's slow pickings. It doesn't turn as fast right now. People are finding more bang for their buck when they get out of downtown Seattle. But here I showed an analysis of the east side communities year to date through October, that it's between 2 to 2.2. So it's maybe a little bit higher, but it's down from the pre-22 levels of 4 to 5. So that's probably what a lot of people are feeling, is that they're feeling the slowdown as it relates to what looks like a really high turnover rate at almost 4%. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. It's really interesting. Seattle specifically, you mentioned condos, and I'm wondering if it's, if we broke out single family homes versus condos, if it tells a different story. Because we're seeing challenges on the lending side on condos in Seattle, especially the metro area is primarily condos. So I'm wondering if that data has also been scrubbed against listings versus canceled listings, and if what the true story is there. Is this homes on the market and there's no buyers, or is this that there's no sellers offering properties? I'd like to dig in a little more.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so I asked my chat GPT to give me if there was a difference if I break it out. And it looks like single family turnover rate is 2.5 to 3. Condo townhome turnover rate is 1.5 to 1.8.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. There you go. Bingo. Don't you love chat GPT? I mean,
I do.
Just jump in there. And I was thinking this the other day. I was thinking, I am I am not a numbers guy. I'm not going to get in there and crunch a bunch of things. I'm not going to like give you, the square root times 7 divided by 4. I'm not going to write a bunch of code, but I can come up with a good idea and a good question. And when I go to AI and I just start typing in the questions, now I'm getting feedback. And then I'm going, okay, let me refine that like we just did, right? We were like, oh, God, it doesn't feel that way. Let's refine it. Man, it's a brave new world, man.
It is. I just did the same thing with this whole 50-year mortgage talk.
Oh, wait, we're going to get to the 50
Yeah.
year. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, our second topic today is the lowest building of multifamily. And lowest building of multifamily. Let's see, that article was that was the rental update. So hold on, let me see if I can share that. Okay, I hate when stuff pops up and I'm about to click on it and then it creates. So I'm going to remove and stop screen share, add screen share. This one here, November rental. So essentially, East Side sales market. Where is it? The headwinds, deceptive, decoupling sales and rent. East Side suburbs dynamics. I'm trying to find where it says in here that, yeah, see, I don't know where it says in here that they're building less. I'm going to find it. I should have done that before we went live. Major Puget Sound cities, Seattle, King County, average rent types, and median home price. So that's not speaking to builds. Come on, where's that multifamily? See, that's where you have to check AI, right?
Yeah.
4.6, that's good. Seattle, King County, decoupling sales and rent, East Side. Meanwhile, Everett, Snohomish County. Well, I guess we'll have to table that one. So it looks to me, though, if I were to, look at this in real time as we're looking at me struggle to find the supporting information here, is our rent change right now in Seattle went up 2.1%. Rental rates went up. Bellevue, it's kind of down 0.9. That's not a whole lot. And it's a high end kind of rent. Redmond, which is the east side, is up 0.5, and Everett is down. So you're going to find a little bit more affordability in the north end than in the Seattle area. It's interesting to see rental rates go up in Seattle. Any thoughts there?
It's what I expect. I think the inventory issue is on both sides, rents and homes for sale. And so while there's a lack of housing overall, it gives the landlord the ability to increase rates. And I think that's what you should expect is year over year, they're going to pass on a cost of living adjustment to you in the form of a rent increase.
Yeah, that's crazy. Multifamily pipeline crashed. I'm doing some research in real time because I really want to know where that is in Seattle. See if I can find that because I'm curious about whether that's true or not. So pipeline plunge from boost the picture in 2024.
Yeah,
Permits. Okay, here we go. I found some permits from April to March. Maybe you found something.
Nope.
Okay, Seattle Metro issued just 21.2 multifamily units per 10,000 residents. That's a 10% drop from 2023. And well below the national slide of 16. South Seattle, Belltown, once hotbeds for high rises, are seeing the steepest cuts. So, okay, so there is deliveries, expect only 11,600 units to hit the market in 2025. That's down 22% from 2024, a whopping 50% from peak forecasts. All right.
Yeah.
So there's your evidence as far as that's concerned. So as far as what we see with regards to enough new housing, that leads to a future, maybe not now, but a future of rising rates. If you're just not building more homes, you're not doing that. So
yep. And I think it's going to continue for a while. We had the the tariffs impact building costs. So you had a lot of builders have to adjust margins on that. You also have builder finances from banks really tighten up and get a lot more conservative. And so just the cost of building has increased. So they've had to pull back. And I don't know that any of that's been sorted out yet. But that's one thing that, in talking about creative solutions, one of the biggest things is how do we speed up at which we bring new inventory to the market, and wherever that may be, in cost, tariffs, permitting process, whatever it may be, environmental.
Well, I think that the low hanging fruit is probably the permitting process, right? Is to really streamline, because in Seattle, King County, Washington, all of the above, Pierce County, we're all beholden to the Growth Management Act. So we can't just find more land to build, but we can streamline that process. And that's a huge cost too, right? The process can be super expensive, so they can bring some costs down there. All right, that brings me to our last point. You and I aren't in the multifamily world, but from a standpoint of these portable loans. So I think we last talked about the 50-year mortgage, and you were going to mention what you did with AI on that.
Well, so I pulled the pros and cons. There's two sides of it. There's a lot of people that are for it and against it. So I just wanted to kind of run an analogy, or modeling about, like, is it a good thing or a bad thing? And it really presented, and I wanted it to come from a neutral standpoint and present evidence for both. And the one thing that you have to remember with a 50-year mortgage that a lot of people aren't calculating correctly is that a 50-year mortgage is going to be at a higher interest rate than a 30-year interest rate. And a lot of the modeling that's being done out there right now is they're at the same interest rate. And that's not true. On a 15-year loan, you're going to get about a 0.5% reduction than you are on a 30-year loan. And so you got to model it correctly, because the savings is significantly less when you account for that 0.5 point increase in payment stretched over 20 more years. But where I think that some people that are getting hung up on this whole 50-year idea is consumers should have choice. Right? Like when I sit down with a borrower, I'm not saying, hey, Dan, a 15-year mortgage is the only option for you and you should take it. I'm saying, okay, what is your goals? What are your desires in this mortgage? What payment are you willing to tolerate? Okay, here's several options that we can explore, and a good lender is going to present that all to you and allow you to make the decision that's best for your situation. So when people quickly jump to say that the 50-year loan is a terrible loan, well, what about the interest-only loans that we've been offering forever, where you don't even touch the principal and the interest rate's higher? And there's investors that like that. They don't want to pay towards principal, and so they're willing to take a higher interest rate and pay interest only. And of course, they're going to pay more interest over the life of that loan. Like, it just gives people more options. It's the same when we evaluate conventional versus FHA. There's pros and cons.
I mean, is the reason why we don't have a 50-year loan because banks just have decided not to create it? Because if they really felt like that would be a way to do it, they would create it, and then it wouldn't be underrated. It would be considered a conventional 50-year loan. Or is there some switch that has to be thrown at a federal level for it to work?
Well, it does have to be approved. Like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have to approve it and build guidelines around it before they can offer it. So, but I think it's life expectancy. When they released the 30-year loan, many years ago, life expectancy wasn't much past 60, 70 years old, and so now with life expectancy into the 90s for females, 80s for males, we're saying, hey, this 50-year loan actually isn't that bad of a deal. People's working years are
heck, I'll take a 70-year loan then.
Yeah, well, and maybe that option will be out there. So, and the other thing to just really remind people of is the percentage of people that make 360 payments on a 30-year loan is like none. Like, no one carries their loan for that long. They have life changes. They increase their square footage when they have kids. They decrease their square footage when the kids move. The home doesn't serve. They get relocated for work. So the average length of time that somebody holds a loan is 7 to 10 years. So when we do these modelings and people are like, oh, well, you're paying twice as much as interest over 50 years. The reality is if this opens the door to get somebody in today, to our point a few minutes ago about pricing, if I can get them in today at today's price in this 50-year loan and get them to qualify, and then in a year or 2 years from now, I can refinance them into a 30-year loan or a 15-year loan and really shrink that total interest that they would pay, they are better off than if they had waited 2 years to get into that conventional mortgage on a 30-year note. So we have to keep that in mind. It's just, is this an opportunity to create home ownership for people that otherwise would be renting?
Yeah.
So we're
All
not
right.
talking
Now,
convincing somebody that would do a 30-year loan to do a 50-year loan. That's not the conversation.
yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the idea of these portable loans?
It's a really interesting thing. So this is available in Canada. So Canada, this is the way it works. Is the loans there? One, they're way more costly.
Mm.
Interest rates, the cost to borrow in Canada is significantly higher, but they do offer this thing. So the idea is that the loan is to you, Dan, and that you're the borrower, and it's not tied necessarily to the collateral of that home. It's a major shift because the way we underwrite files now is what is the ability of the lender to recover any losses if you default, and it's based on the appraisal value of that collateral in the home, and can the lender come out on top if you default. When you talk about portable loans and you take that with you, the collateral shifts. And so are we willing to say, okay, that home that you're now moving this home to, if you get underwater and you walk away from it, can the lender that originally did that loan still recoup what they have into it?
Well, I mean, the idea is that this is the way I picture it is
Yep.
I bought a house for $219,000.
Yeah.
I took a 80-year loan, 80% loan on that. So roughly $200,000 is my loan amount for this $220,000 house, right?
Yep.
So I'm just simplifying the math because I'm not good at it. Okay, so then that house, I lived there for 10 years and I make my mortgage payments. And so my mortgage payments probably reduce the loan amount if I'm at like say 7% interest. It reduces it maybe the principal amount of the house, maybe $10,000, let's just say. So I'm at 190, but I turn around and I sell that house for say 400,000. So now I take that loan amount of 190 and that's still given to me, and I purchased that new house for 500,000. And currently I have the funds now of 190 that I can use to put down, and then I've got to take the proceeds, right? It's starting to get more complicated. The proceeds now, and I put that together, and now I'm coming up with maybe another 100,000. So I have to add to this loan, or create a second loan, so that I have two loans now, or maybe it's just one, right? But in that case scenario, let's just say the equity that I earned, I went from 400 to 400,000, and now I just moved that loan over, and it's now on the new house. If I stop paying that loan, though, that party can foreclose on the new house that the lien is held on.
Right.
Yep. It seems like it could be that simple, but it's a very simplification.
Right. Yeah. The one thing that I would want to explore is those notes are sold in the secondary market and they're packaged in U.S. bonds. And so how does that impact the bonds, right? Like when you think of assumptions, when you offer a loan that's assumable and this new borrower comes in and assumes that loan's already been transferred as a bond in the market in the U.S. Treasury, right, as mortgage-backed security. So how does that disrupt that? And is this investor saying, hey, that's not the same risk? This isn't like for like risk. And now we have bonds that aren't going to perform as we originally had anticipated. So is that the difference between Canada? Is none of these loans are ending up in some kind of mortgage-backed security where they don't have to worry about that?
But the borrower is not the risk. It's the asset that's the risk.
Well, the risk is default.
But yes, but the risk is, so before it was packaged based on this house, but the credit, nothing in the credit changed. It's still the same borrower, still the same job and all that stuff. I think that the second loan that you would have to get would be valued a little differently than the first loan, because the first loan is at that first rate. The second loan might be at the modern day rate, so there's that. That's interesting. It's something to think about, but I think that honestly, the reality is most likely all of this comes back to affordable housing.
100%. Exactly. And that's the thing. And it doesn't matter what side of the aisle on, is the affordability is the big question mark. And so I think portable loans, 50-year notes, building permits, like we should be looking at every potential opportunity, and we shouldn't rule anything out until we really put it in the market and let's see how this performs before we just completely jump to, oh, that won't work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a hard stop in about 2 minutes. So before I head out, though, what is the plan for the holiday weekend? What is the tradition around the Thanksgiving that you get out and do?
Yeah. We definitely do a little fitness. We're Peloton subscribers, so they do a turkey workout in the morning. So we're gonna be doing that. But Dan, we're not traditional turkey eaters on Thanksgiving, so we always think of like how obscure of a menu can we come up with. So I think we're gonna do birria tacos because it's as far from a traditional Thanksgiving as you can get.
Yeah, that's very far. Yeah. I think my brother got annoyed with me one Christmas. I did carne asada, grilled tacos.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I was supposed to do this. So, well,
Yeah. What about for you?
just a traditional in my world. So nothing. Crazy enough, I have a wedding.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. On Thursday.
No, that would be really crazy. But on the Saturday,
Gotcha.
the Saturday after Thanksgiving, a wedding, which happens to also coincide with the Oregon and Washington football game.
Yeah.
And I'm really frustrated that my friends who I care about very dearly and their daughter who's getting married, but I'm like any day but that day.
Right.
Oh well.
Yep. And so, are you a turkey or ham Thanksgiving?
Turkey. You got to do turkey.
Okay, turkey.
I mean, there's no other time of the year that I'm going to buy a turkey and bring it home and cook it.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, cool. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. And thanks for all your words of wisdom.
You as well. Thanks, Dan.
All right. We're out.